folks, Vitek here from Metal Wani, and with us today we have one and only, the mastermind, Mr. John Petrucci of Dream Theater. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
And you just finished the European run, with the legendary Dream Theater album, Imagine Words. One of the best out there in the prog scene. How have the fans received it so far? And when we look at the history behind the record and the number of years that have passed since then.
Yeah, well, you know what? For a lot of fans, it was actually their first introduction to the band, even though there was an album before that.
Right.
Images and Words was, that was for a lot of people who have been with us since then, the first time they were introduced to us. So it really holds a special place in their hearts and in the history of the band. So once we announced that we were doing this special tour to celebrate the anniversary, I mean, the reaction was incredible. And the first leg of the European run that we just completed couldn't have been better. It was amazing, and we'll be coming back in a few weeks, actually, to do part 2.
That's right. Playing an album in its entirety is something you guys have done in the past, but playing a record like this, which has a history, and it's probably like, when you're playing these shows, you see a son, his father, probably even a grandfather, a generation who have listened to this record over the period of time. I mean, it must be a surreal feeling to play these into, the so many generations who are actually inspired by this record over the period of the last 25 years.
It is. First of all, you make me feel very old. So no, I'm joking. It's really cool, actually, and to see, people who were there from the beginning, and then they grew up and had families, and you see the young kids there, like you said, with their fathers or even grandparents, and we've had that. We've had the 3 generations of fans coming to a show. First of all, it's really cool because it speaks to the longevity of that album and this music, and how after all these years it still makes a connection with young people. And second of all, because it's a great way for families to connect. I don't know how you were growing up, but I didn't have the same musical taste as my parents. It was a different kind of time. So the fact that, fathers and mothers and sons and daughters could unite, with a common musical, passion for the same kind of music and band, I think that's fantastic. I think it's really, really cool.
Absolutely. I mean, a song like Metropolis, when you guys wrote the part 1 25 years ago, ended up being a record when it's, with a complete story. When you look back at that era of Dream Theater, when you guys were writing these songs, I know, it's impossible to figure out that we would be playing this live 25 years ahead, but a song like Metropolis or Pull Me Under, which are still fan favorites, you guys play it almost every concert, must be a surreal feeling that these songs have had an impact on the lives of people, not just from the musical perspective, but also how, they have faced a lot of things in life. You guys have faced it, and still, here we have fans coming to your shows 25 years later. I mean, I've seen some of my folks in London coming to see you guys after like 3 decades.
It's amazing, and there are people not only who have, been with us for that long, but have come to multiple shows. Some people have hit the 100 mark and have come to so many Dream Theater shows, which is amazing. But it is a very surreal feeling when playing music in front of an audience and having people connect to it, because when you write, it's a very sort of personal experience, and you might be either together with the guys or even alone, just kind of working out some riffs and ideas. You get a song, inspiration for a song, some lyrics. In the case of Metropolis, you make some wacky musical instrumental sections, and as a writer, you kind of get to that point where you say, oh, this sounds cool, this is great, but past that, having it connect with other people, having them listen to it, and having it impact them in a way, in an emotional way, is always a surreal feeling, and you really do get that connection when you play live. Whether the songs are brand new or they were written 25 years ago.
That's right, John. Do you still get these moments with, let's say, with LaBrie or John Myung regarding that? How the hell did we come up with this part of the song in Metropolis or Pull Me Under? When you guys were rehearsing with it, like playing in its entirety. I'm sure there must have been bits and pieces where you guys would have discussed, like, damn, 25 years later we are playing this. How the hell did we come up with this song?
Absolutely, that's a common occurrence. We look, especially if you haven't touched the song in a while, and you go back to kind of relearn it, and you're like, what the hell were we thinking? What did we even write? And you're trying to remember the fingerings on the guitar and figure it out, and it kind of comes back to bite you. But it's all fun, And in the case of the Images songs, they've been around for so long, and we've played those songs so many times that it's kind of part of our DNA at this point. But yeah, we always have those moments where we look at each other and smile and kind of scratch our heads like, what the hell were we thinking?
That's right. That's really cool to hear. At a certain point of time, I've followed you throughout your career. At least 15 years of my life with Dream Theater, and it's always, you've always been regarded as one of the pioneers of the speed factor when it comes to playing guitars. And do you still think about getting faster, or does it all about come to a point where you realize that it just doesn't matter anymore?
Well, I mean, musicality is always the king, on any instrument. But so that's always important to keep that at the forefront. But speed is still something that I work on. It's still, that's still something that drives me. It's a part of my style.
Mm-hmm.
In order to play the songs that are in our catalog, I need to have that speed on call. So it's something that I have to always sort of maintain and work on and try to push. And it's actually a lot of fun. It's still a lot of fun. I kind of need to drive a fast car or whatever it is, get that sort of adrenaline rush. As much as composition, songwriting, performance, musicality are such important aspects of the way that I approach music. Speed is still an element. It's still a lot of fun. It's a challenge, and I'm always trying to pick up new ideas. I'm always impressed by guys that have tremendous amount of facility on the guitar, and it's still a lot of fun.
Absolutely. It's really good to hear. With the Astonishing tour, you guys played the album in its entirety, which was really a great experience. Fans loved it. And now with, the Image and Words as well. Have you guys plotted anything further with respect to where you guys are going to take this tour? Is this going to be like you come back to North America or probably Australia or Asia?
Yeah. Initially, we had been on tour with the Astonishing for several months, and we were kind of wrapping that up, and we decided to do a little tour this year to celebrate Images. And once we announced it, everybody all around the world got so excited, and they were like, well, you have to come here, and you have to come to Asia, you have to come to America. So we extended it, and so we'll be talking the whole year basically. We have another European leg coming up, and then we'll be in Asia, Australia, we'll be in the U.S. So this will extend into the fall of this year.
Awesome. So you guys are packed. So has anything proceeded in terms of writing something for the next record? Any pre-production or any plans so far?
Not really. It's kind of a bit far off. We're always sort of like, new ideas kind of just pop up all the time. Mm-hmm. And we talked about a direction and stuff. It'll be a while before we get into that. Probably not until the following year, actually.
All right, and you had this desire of writing a concept album, after a long time, and then came the Astonishing. So has the conceptual factor in your mind come to a sort of a rest that okay, we will get back to a concept record maybe 5-6 years down the road, and now write something heavy, which Dream Theater wrote something like Train of Thoughts and something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. We took with the Astonishing, we took the concept as far as I think as anybody could take it. Not only with the scope of the album, but the production on the tour, turning it into a video game, which is out, a novel that's coming out. The Dream Theater and the concept of the Astonishing was such a huge undertaking, and it's an ongoing project. So that kind of writing for us is now done. We got that out of our created a system, and now it's time to move on to do something else. So so the next album will not be conceptual. It'll definitely be probably more traditional Dream Theater, definitely heavy and chock full of all the things that I think make our signature sound.
Absolutely. John, LaBrie has been the voice of Dream Theater for so many years, so many decades now. I'm sure it must be a challenging factor for him to sing songs on the Imogen words, after, obviously with age, the voice also takes a toll. So, but I've heard so far that he's been phenomenal on road, and that's one reason where I'm stoked to catch him live in London, when you guys come here.
Yeah, he continues to amaze me because, the way that he takes care of himself, the way that he takes care of his voice and how serious he is about the craft of singing and staying healthy and everything is really, really impressive. And you're right, those songs are not easy to sing. We were in our 20s back then, and, it's difficult for vocalists, but James is, he's a one of a kind. He's really unique singer who has such an immense talent and can really bring it every night. And another really cool thing about this tour is that he's kind of telling stories to the audience about, what was happening at that time, a little bit of insight into our experience in the studio. Yeah, so it's been a lot of fun to kind of go back and reminisce about that experience in the studio.
That's phenomenal. John, you wrote a solo album which was loved by every damn person on this earth, who's a guitar freak, who's a music fan in general. Did you ever thought of coming back on the solo side, probably, take out that part of you which is there in your system, something not related to Dream Theater?
Yeah, definitely. I did suspended animation back in 2005,
right?
I believe. So it's been so long since I've done one, and it's probably the number one question I get asked personally is, am I going to do this solo? And the answer is yes. It's just a matter of finding the time.
Right.
I know that sounds a lame excuse. I actually have the music written. I've actually played a few of the songs on a G3 tour I did a few years ago in South America with John Petrucci and Steve Morse. But it's just a matter of me
finding time,
stepping away from the schedule of Dream Theater and getting into the studio and recording the songs. So it's definitely going to happen.
Someday it's going to happen. John, I was going through some of the interviews. Obviously, I recently had a chat with the Dillinger Escape, the Ben Wayman, and I read it somewhere, I don't know whether it's true or not, that you locked yourself in the hotel room and started practicing for hours and hours, when you guys were on tour, because you saw a 7-year-old kid able to play faster than you. Is that true?
I think that kind of happens on a daily basis now. I don't know about locking myself in a hotel room, but I'll tell you, the amount of facility and technical ability that young kids have now, on not only on guitar but on drums and other instruments, it's just mind blowing.
Absolutely, I agree.
I definitely credit, when we were younger and we wanted to learn a song or a guitar solo, there wasn't any way to see it unless you went to a show, and even then, it kind of went by quickly, and maybe you were far away. You had to drop the needle on a record player and or play a cassette over and over and try to figure out what the guitar player was doing. It was really, really, really tricky. But now, kids have access to YouTube and the internet, and there's so much instructional material that you can see exactly how somebody's doing something, and how much kids are like sponges. They see that, they could pick that up in 2 seconds and realize, oh, that's how you play it.
All right.
So they're younger and younger, better and better. It's pretty mind blowing. It's really wild.
Absolutely, man. We look forward to catching you guys live in UK. You got so many dates out here. Fans are going to be stoked. And there's one question which I want to ask for all my readers in India who've been asking for years, and I'm sure you're also aware of it, that when is Dream Theater going to come to India?
That's a great question. I cannot believe that we have not been to India. Our career is over 30 years, and we've played most places in the world, and we've never come to India it's going to happen. I can't tell you when, but it's an absolute crime that we have not been to.
True.
I don't really understand why. I don't understand why not. But it has to happen. It definitely has to happen.
I hope it happens for the fans soon, and that would be great. So I look forward to catch you live in London, John. Always a great time having a chat with you.
Sounds good to me. All right, nice talking to you.